Today's session is mainly related to the career coaching. So I'm here for you to ask and to provide whatever support that I can. So whoever is going to speak, please just drop a note that you have a question, or even add your question to the chat.
Okay.
You don't have questions?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, just a minute. Now I have some issues, doubt regarding this career.
Can you please raise your voice a little bit?
Yeah, just a minute. Just a minute.
Okay.
Me now clearly, ma'am. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, I'm doing my master's in France.
The voice is too low. I'll beg your pardon that you raise the voice a little bit.
I'm doing my master's in France.
You are doing your master's in?
France in international logistics and port management.
Logistics and?
Port management.
Okay.
Port.
Okay.
And I'm a bit confused about my next step. Just thinking I have two options. One is searching a job in the related field, and two, to do higher studies, like I want to do PhD.
Okay, just a second, because honestly speaking, I can't hear you clearly. Rest of the team, do you hear him clearly? My friend,
Yes, we hear you well.
Can you hear him clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess I have an issue in my second, please. Okay. 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 Now, can you please repeat your question?
I'm typing. I will just send in chat.
Okay. So you told me that you are doing your master's in the international logistics and port management. Great. Okay.
Yeah, I sent you in chat, ma'am.
Yes,
so that everyone can see.
I've read it. I've read it.
Yeah, I will just update there.
I can hear you clearly now.
Yeah. Ma'am, I just don't know what to do next. To search a job in the field or to do a PhD in the same field.
Okay.
Logistics.
Okay. So I'll just ask you a question. So you are doing your master's, but are you working now?
No, ma'am.
You are not working. Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 24.
You are 24. You are too young. Okay. So okay, you have to start searching for a job as of now. You don't need to wait till you are done with your master's. Because
actually, I have applied for many companies.
Yes.
And the many companies are asking, do you have any experience? And one more thing is, if you have work permit, we are ready to offer a job. But no one is ready to sponsor, or no one is ready to provide a work permit job.
And this is in India, or it's general everywhere?
No, I'm doing my master's in France now. I'm looking for Netherlands.
Okay, so you are trying to find a job in France, and they are not accepting you because you don't have experience.
Yeah, I just have 1 year experience. They're expecting more than 3 or 5 year experience.
Okay, and you are searching for a job everywhere. I mean, how are you searching for a job?
I'm in through LinkedIn.
Yes.
And through company websites like I'm just knowing some companies, and through the career website, I'm applying in there.
Okay, so, and no one is accepting you even for an entry level.
Ma'am, yeah, even in Netherlands, I applied for many companies, and
Yes.
the thing is, they are ready to offer a job if I have a proper work permit.
Okay, so did you try to let's say have a specific course in a certain part in the supply chain so that can give you some more knowledge about the job? I mean, when you have the master's in international logistics, it's something like having a theoretical knowledge. It's not giving you enough about the experience.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I'll just clarify one thing, because this is something like a lot of people in Egypt are trying to do the same. They go for the masters and they go for extra knowledge. However, the knowledge is somehow related to the theoretical part. So you will need to have some sort of a specific course from, let's say, an experienced instructor. I mean, you can reach people on LinkedIn and you can try to get knowledge from the people who are experienced, who are willing to provide part of their knowledge, same as I do, because I provide courses. And I just initiated some sort of a support program. And it's as simple as we are now having time and we are trying to offer people some support. So I do provide the course for the basics of supply chain management. And this is not for a pay. It's something like you have to find someone in France who needs support, and you provide him with food for 14 days. That is the time that we should not go out of home. And for this, or let's say for return of this, I can try to help you getting some more experienced knowledge in the course of the basics of supply chain management. And I hope that what I will do and what I support you with can help you find a job soon. It's not a grant. I mean, it's not a grant. It's just a try. And the same, I'm hearing the same note from the people here in Egypt. But sometimes it's not about that people are not willing to hire you. You are not knocking the right doors. So, so don't clap down because some people are telling you don't have experience, because honestly speaking, whoever they are and whatever the organization it's a big organization or it's a small organization, we have to understand that fresh graduates do not have experience. So it's really wonderful that when I go as a fresh graduate to apply for a job and people tell me you don't have experience, I will never have this experience unless someone hire me.
Yeah, just the same thing I posted in LinkedIn once, like that everyone is looking for an experienced guy. So someone should offer a job to gain experience. Without the offering, everyone is looking for 5 years experience. I just posted in LinkedIn. Many people reacted to it, but no one came from to help or support.
Okay, and did you try to find internship? Because multinational organizations have an intern programs. They offer you some sort of internal training so that you can gain the experience, and later on you can add this to your CV.
Ma'am, even for the internship, I applied for many countries like Netherlands and the neighboring countries.
Yes.
And even for the internship, they require a work permit.
They require
from work permit.
Work permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But from my knowledge, the work permit should be applied by the company who wanna hire me.
Well, I'm not sure.
No one is ready to sponsor me and apply for a work permit. They are showing more interest on the people who are located from their own like European citizenship. For non-European, searching for internship in European countries is very difficult.
I got your point. Honestly speaking, I don't know more about the legality of having an internship in France. I mean, the internal regulations inside the country. I don't know more about it. However, what I will recommend is you should not stop knocking doors, and you should not stop asking others to support you. And as said, if you'd like to enroll in the coming training, I'll do my best to support you and to provide you with the, let's say, some practical experience and some practical knowledge about the supply chain. And let's see how we can manage this. And please send me your CV. I wish to review it. Maybe there is something that we need to add it to the CV, or something that we need to flag it to endorse or something. And then we can see how the next step can be taken. Meanwhile, please do not lose hope and continue to search and to continue to connect with people. And I believe that whatever you'll expect is what you will get.
Thank you, ma'am. And may I have your detail, like a mail ID or contact number?
You can find my account on LinkedIn, and you can send me the CV on the messenger of the LinkedIn.
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
So who's next? I can see that I have 11 participants, so I'm expecting some more questions.
We are here to listen to you.
Okay, may I start?
Yes, and who this?
My name is Neil.
Neil, how are you?
Yeah, fine. And you?
All is great. I guess Anas have recommended you to attend our session today.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
We just Anas is my friend, and we met him in Turkey because in January we had a supply chain camp conference in Turkey, Istanbul, and we met there for last like 4 days. We stayed together and we enjoyed the conference, and from that time we know each other.
Great. And Anas is one of my let's say he's a little brother, and I'm trying to support him as far as I can whenever he have something related to the education or the supply chain. So I've seen his recommendation today, and I'm really happy that you're joining us. So let me know how can I help you, Neil?
Okay, thank you. I just want to introduce myself at first. So my name is Neil. Full name is Neil Kamal Shaha. I'm from Bangladesh. Right now I'm studying in Germany, Department of Logistics and Supply Chain Management.
Yes.
And I have completed my bachelor in accounting. So after coming here, I did not have any much experience about logistics supply chain. But last year in January, in December, I did one internship in one logistics company. It's affiliated with Amazon Logistics. So mainly we deliver the product from Amazon. So I just did internship for 3 months from there, and also worked in a project as a student assistant in our university.
Yes.
And right now I have find out one company, and I'm going to write my master thesis with that company. The topic is the dynamic inventory control of the product portfolio of that company.
Okay, inventory control, is it related, just a second, is it related to the
Yes.
Finished goods?
Inventory yeah, from beginning to the end, in every segment there is inventory control. So in work in progress or raw materials or finished goods, so I need to write in overall from beginning to the end.
Okay, so Neil, this organization is a manufacturing organization.
Yes.
Okay, so that's why I was asking, is it related to finished goods only, or it's the whole process? So you are now in the accounting department or the costing department, and you are supposed to have the inventory control or the inventory records for all the inventory passing across the manufacturing facility, starting from the raw materials, going through the working process, and finally the finished goods.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You're right.
So you just do the check and the control in terms of making sure that what has been physically moving across the chain is the same as per the books and the records, or do you have anything to do with the material planning?
I have to like if there is any interruptions, because the theme, the topic is now fixed, but I have to discuss again with my supervisor, like which topic or which segment should I concentrate? Should I write from from the procurement of the raw materials till the finished goods, till the till making the finished goods of
Yes.
of the product for. So I need to ask again. So right now the topic or title for my master thesis is fixed.
Okay. What's the title of your manager?
Of my manager,
Yes.
you mean my supervisor?
Yes. What's his title? I mean, it's not his name. I mean, what's his job? I mean, he's the inventory controller. Who
yes.
he's the costing guy. He's the planning
Yes.
manager. What's his?
No. He's responsible mainly for the supply chain management
Yes.
overall.
Okay.
But I will write my master thesis for inventory control under the supervision of that person, like
Okay.
who is entitled supply chain manager.
Okay. I got your point. Okay.
Because you know that in supply chain management, inventory control is one of the most important factor to minimize the cost from the procurement of the raw materials till to the process to get the final product.
Well, Neil, actually, I fully understand what you are saying because this has been the start of my job. I mean, I started in Procter & Gamble and I've been a material planner, and the inventory control was one of the keys that I have to manage. So this is not something easy to do. I mean, definitely, if you are doing this with each step as being there for some while, you have to go to your supervisor. However, the key in the inventory control is to understand few tips. One of them is the supplier commitment and the supplier reliability. So if you have reliable supplier, if you have committed supplier, you can go slowly in splitting the orders. And whenever you split the orders, mainly for the raw materials, something like, let's start from the beginning. Whenever you go for the inventory control of the raw materials, you start with analyzing your suppliers and checking their commitment in terms of the communication, something like confirming the orders, responding to your emails and inquiries, the flexibility in changing the time and the quantity of the order. And once you scan your suppliers, you start to select the best or the excellent suppliers who are very good in communication. They are having the power to switch the orders and change it. And then you start to split the orders. Something like if you are having 20 suppliers, you scan them, you check the history, and then you select the 5 best of them. And if for this 5 you are getting a monthly order, you can start with splitting the orders. Instead of being a monthly order, once at the beginning of each month, you can start with having 2 orders per month. And you should not do this on your own. You have to manage with your manager. But once you can do this, your cycle inventory will be reduced, the warehouse space will be reduced, the cash outflow will be reduced. You do this with the very best committed suppliers, and you check the financial impact. And once you do this, you will find that all the 3 aspects that I've told you about have been improved. And then you can check if you can have more suppliers where you can rely on this. This is giving you the flexibility in terms of adjusting the orders, in terms of the inventory management, in terms of the capacity of the warehouse, the capacity of the receiving, and the flexibility to stop the order or to increase it whenever you need. So this is just in quick. If we will go for the working process, well, the working process is not that easy to control. It will depend on the process of the manufacturing facility itself. So I will not talk much about the WIP. And if we'll go for the finished goods and talk about the inventory control of the finished goods, or how we have to reduce our inventory or have the inventory turnover better, it will be based on the alignment with the sales team. If you are in direct contact with the sales team, it will be mainly depending on the days of coverage or the expected coverage related to the sales or the daily sales that they are expecting. So in this term, you have to check which items are, let's say, mostly needed. And this is where you have to have extra stocks. The items that are produced every now and then, you will need to have some stocks in the buffer. You need to check a lot of parameters. And I guess ideally your manager should be able to give you the information related to the demand, the historic information, the forecasting error. A lot of information will be needed to manage the stocks of the finished goods. And once you have the information, you can try to utilize it to see which items you can increase the inventory and which items you can reduce the inventory to have a healthy overall finished good inventory. And you have to watch out. I don't know what type of products you are producing, but you have to watch out for the expiry of the raw materials, same as for the expiry of the finished goods. So this is
it's mainly the company mainly concentrating the manufacturing products, for example, for the agriculture and the minerals, like kind of water.
yes,
They produce the water for the customers.
yes.
And also for agricultural fields, like
So
kind of fertilizer.
okay, so I guess for both the raw materials and the finished goods, you will have expiry dates. So it's something like you have to watch out for the expiries whenever you are placing an order and whenever you are reviewing a plan. So this is just
Yes.
in summary.
Yeah. You are right.
And one final
But
thing.
I need more information. Yes.
Go ahead.
Continue.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
please continue.
Okay, there is something that I was going to tell you about, something like you need to watch out for the obsoletes and to take an action. I mean, whenever you realize that the finished goods is going to be short dated or something, it's not about that this quantity has been requested by sales. You have to keep on reminding the sales team that they have to find a way to, let's say, write it off, or to have some sort of a promotion or activity to avoid having it in the obsolete items, or to avoid the expiry and the write-off of it. Same as for the raw materials, whenever you realize that there is something that is going to expire and it's not having a production plan, it's part of your responsibility to flag that we need to find a way to produce it to avoid writing it off. So it's part of the importance of the supply chain is finding solutions. Don't be traditional. It's something like, if I don't have a plan, then it will expire and it will be a loss. We are not there to take the routine actions. We are there to find solutions.
Yeah. Something is better than nothing.
Yes, well, I will not say something is better than nothing, but I will say that.
Yeah, but if the raw materials get expired or the final product is not sold out, then the company will be lost. So if we find any solution to sell the product with giving any discount, or by giving any kind of promotions to the sales department, then the product will be at least we can recover the cost of the product by selling the product.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So that's why I told something is better than nothing.
Yes, but honestly speaking, I understand that something is better than nothing. But the thing that I was trying to flag is the role of the supply chainers is to find solutions.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so
that is the best idea for supply chain manager.
Yes, we are creating value.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any more questions, Neil?
Yeah, the question is, I'll most probably I'll complete my degree, master's program in this December. So hopefully I will try to stay in Europe. Like, is there any possibility to get job here from Germany or from Europe by getting through your help?
Well, honestly speaking, I cannot promise you, but well, it's something like we give it a try. So I cannot promise you that. I know some people in Europe that can help you, but what I can do is to try to find a way.
Yeah, sure. That's what I listen from you. Just
Okay.
only the help, if you have any idea, so that I can use that idea and I can achieve my goal.
Well, we can give it a try, and I guess Anas can help us as well. He's very well connected.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Okay.
Thanks
Okay.
a
Thank
lot.
you. Welcome. Welcome, Neil. I have another question from Marwa. So let me read it. Okay, the question that Marwa have sent to me is related to the career shift. So, well, I guess I've explained this before, but let's take another round. Whoever is willing to do a career shift, the career shift is available for everyone. However, it's not that easy. So whenever we think of a career shift, we have to think of the consequences. It's something like if you are working in a certain career, and this career you have past few years of experience, then you have got to a certain level or to a seniority level or to a salary level that you cannot, let's say, compromise. So if you will do a career shift, it will be hard to go for a less salary or a less title and so on. So it's something that we have to watch out and to think, how can we do this career shift without being hurted in terms of the salary or the seniority. So I always recommend that once you think of a career shift, try to do it within your own organization. If you are working in the production and you are willing to go for the supply chain, try to do it within your own organization. It will be much easier to avoid losing part of your salary or your seniority. It's not that easy in all cases. Some people has to start something like knocking doors internally, and if you couldn't do it or you cannot do it that easy, you may think to move from one organization to the other. The best career shift will not be related to the supply chain or the marketing or the HR. It will be related to your own capabilities. Something like you need to think, what do I have? Something like start from where you are. If you are in the area of getting in public relations, you are outgoing, you like to deal with people, then I would say you can go for the HR or for the marketing. The supply chain is not that easy. So I'm just trying to be frank. It needs some sort of very tough personality to a little bit. It needs you to be having enough self-confidence and to accept challenges, because the supply chain tasks or the supply chain responsibilities is really challenging. The management of the people, you will deal with blue collars, you will deal with labor, you will deal with drivers. So it's some sort of requiring certain type of personality. So if you believe that you are tough enough and you can go for this, you can think of the career shift. And there are some parts within the supply chain that are less, let's say, less tough than the others. So if I would recommend you to go for a career shift in the supply chain, I would recommend the customer service. I would recommend the demand planning somehow, but not the material planning or the production planning, especially in a manufacturing facility. If you will think about the HR and the marketing and the other functions, well, I would say it. There is no good job or good field and bad field. The supply chain is not better than HR, and the HR is not better than marketing. All these departments are important, and they are all good jobs, and they are all well-paying as long as you are interested in doing the job. So my recommendation would be, think a little bit of what you would like to do. What will you enjoy doing? And then start to get in contact. You are here now today with us in the discussion about the supply chain. If you find an opportunity to have another discussion with some people who are working in the sales, some other people working in the HR, some other people working in the marketing, go and attend, listen to the people, ask, and then try to find within the talk of the people and within the discussions, where do you really fit? And once you decide that this is where you are willing to go, then we can start to move on. And if you need more let's say, guiding or support. We can do it on a one-to-one basis, but before you go for this, just think of your capabilities and what you really are willing to do, and then we can take it from there. I hope this is answering your question, Marwa. And please, if it's not, drop me another note and clarify if you need any more clarification. Q&A is questions and answers. The Q&A is, yes, that's why we are saying if you have questions, and I'll try to answer you. So the Q&A is a question and answers. Okay. Well, I have a question, and this question is more about the difference between purchasing, procurement. Well, it's some people pronounce it as purchasing, some people pronounce it as purchasing, so whatever. So the purchasing, procurement, and supply chain, the difference between these three, and especially in a service company. Okay. And the relation between the integrated management system and the supply chain. Well, this is not a question, actually. I need to have a big session to answer this question, so I'll try to summarize. If we will talk about the procurement, when we talk about procurement, it starts from searching for a supplier and qualifying this supplier and checking if this supplier will be the best for us to deal with, mainly for the organizations that will have a long-term relation with the supplier. The purchasing is the execution of the order. So within the procurement, you will have the purchasing. So the purchasing is part of the procurement. And the purchasing is simply the part related to the transactions. Something like, if this is the supplier that we agreed we will deal with. So the price negotiation and the issue of the PO, the follow-up on the supplier, the check of the payment, and so on. So the part of the purchasing is mainly the part of the execution of the purchase order, where the procurement is the part related to searching, finding, qualifying, and selecting the supplier. This is in simple. We can talk much about this. And then the supply chain. When we talk about the supply chain, well, actually in big organizations, the supply chain sometimes include the procurement as part of the sub-functions, and sometimes it's not. So it depends on the organization structure, and not all the organizations are having the same structure. Some organizations are having different structures than others, and this is not something like a model. There is no role model for the organization structure. Yet, ideally, purchasing is part of procurement, procurement is part of supply chain. So if you find this is your organization, then it's good. If other organizations are having different structures, it's not wrong, but it depends. Well, if I talk in a service company, so it will depend what is the service of this company or what is the service of this organization. And once we understand the type of the service, we can try to identify who should be doing what in terms of the procurement, purchasing, and supply chain. Well, for the part related to the integration, well, integration means that some sub entities or some sub-departments are working together. So if I would say the integrated supply chain, when we talk about the integration in supply chain, it means that I'm trying to find the best way to cooperate with my suppliers and my customers. So if it's internal supply chain, it's my organization. If it's integrated supply chain, it's getting more in relation with my supplier and customer as partners, having common visions, having common strategies, and so on. So if we'll talk about the integrated supply chain, it's getting more involvement and cooperation with our customers and suppliers. But if I would say integrated management system, well, this term has to be analyzed before we answer what is it related for. So let's talk about the integrated supply chain, and maybe on a one-to-one basis, we can have a talk about the other related details. The next question. Okay, someone is asking about his career future steps after working in the warehouse. Okay, so it's really nice question. You know, it's something like some people know exactly what they are looking for. So if I'm working in the warehousing and I don't want to go for the planning, yes, don't go for the planning. It's not the easiest. But you can think of the fleet management. You can think of the transportation planning, logistics organizations. You can think of the customer service if it's part. You can switch to what else in the supply chain, the customer service, we have talked about it. Well, if it's mainly the raw materials, you can try to shift for the finished goods if this will be more matching. But honestly speaking, I would not recommend that you stay in the warehousing forever because this will not help you in the future as a general rule. And this is not a rule in the books, it's a rule of experience. Do not stay for more than 5 years in the same description of the job. I mean, if you are a warehouse manager, it's enough for 5 years and you try to go elsewhere within the supply chain if you are willing to be a supply chain manager one day. When I started my career, I spent almost 8 years in the material planning and the production planning. And I was not willing to do the move till I got an advice that if you are looking for the next step, you may stay where you are. But if you have to look for the future, you have to learn more. And the more that you move within the supply chain from one function to the other, the more experience you got and the more opportunity to be promoted you will have. And if I cannot have, okay, someone has to mute the mic because the kids are playing around. Okay, so if I don't have in my organization the procurement or the logistics department within the supply chain, well, I would recommend that if you can move to another company, you can go for it. And if you will move, you have to understand that you will move with the same title. Something, if you are working in the warehousing in your organization, to be able to have a good move, you will go for the warehousing in another organization. To avoid losing your seniority. And within the other organization, you may spend a year or two in the warehousing and then you start to find a way to move. But you will not be able to move from the warehousing to the procurement in another organization. The best is to move within your own organization or to move with the same title or even seniority. Something like if you are a warehouse supervisor, you can find the job of a warehouse manager in an organization, and then you start within the other organization to have more responsibility. Something like if you are having the responsibility of the raw and pack materials, you get the responsibility of the finished goods, you start to get more in the customer service or the logistics and so on, and then you can expand your scope of responsibility. Okay, I have another question from a fresh graduate. So if we are talking about the fresh graduates who are willing to work in the supply chain, the first point will be we need to have some internship or even social activities. And let me clarify this point. Some organizations would like to welcome the fresh graduates, but they need to find something different in your CV, something like giving a credit to your personality. Because if I would say I'm having 5 fresh graduates applying for a job that I'm offering, I will scan the 5 CVs and then I will have the interviews. If the 5 of them are fresh graduate, I'll start to think who is doing what, who has tried to find an internship and gain some experience, even if it's not for a pay. And if I will not find experience, I will check your social activities. Have you been volunteering in something? Have you been participating in the student activities? Something like, show me that you are special. Show me that you are doing something different than others. Show me that you have invested some time doing something of value. So the first thing will be to prepare your CV, trying to represent your personality, even if you don't have the experience. The second thing will be to find some sort of training or to join a training course with an experienced instructor. And whenever I talk about the courses, please do not go for the advertising, do not go for the customer service in the training centers and ask them if this course will be value adding. They will tell you definitely it's value adding because it's job to tell you so. It's the job to attract you to have a course. So whenever you are going to take a course in a supply chain, in finance, in HR, in whatever, you need to understand who is the instructor and is his experience related to the topic that he's going to help you with, or it's just a certified instructor. And being a certified instructor is not something bad. It's good to be a certified instructor, but more than important is, did you have the hands-on experience? Did he work in this? Did he know the real experience in life? Or it's just the theory? So if the instructor is just having the theory, do not go for it. If you are willing to pay money for experience. Do not pay money for theories. So you will go and have a training course with an experienced instructor in wherever you are going. If it's HR, go for it. If it's supply chain, go for it. If it's finance, go for it. But make sure that the instructor is experienced enough. And this is a general note. Improve your English. You need to improve your language because now the most commonly used language across the world is the English language. So if you will stuck with the language, it will be a showstopper. So if I'm a fresh graduate, I have a good CV, I have some internship, I have some student activities or social activities, I have a good language, or let's say moderate to above moderate, and I have computer skills. All of this is good. And then we can start to find a job, and we can accept a below average salary, something like, some people do not go for a low salary. No one is willing to go for a low salary. However, if this low salary will provide me with experience, assume that this is not a job, this is a paid training. You are going for a training and they are giving you your transportation, so go for it. Do not reject it, because this will be the only way for you to gain experience and to have something as on-hand experience to be in your CV. And then by time you'll be able to move elsewhere. I hope this is answering your question. And by the way, in terms of the education, when we talk about the supply chain, it's not about your background in education, because when we started, I started 20 years ago, and I've been graduated from the Faculty of Commerce and Business Administration, accounting section. And I found when I started to work in the planning that this is related to my studies, and I started to gain more knowledge on the job. Engineers can work in the supply chain, accountants can work in the supply chain, agriculturalists can work in the supply chain, medical people can work in the supply chain, because some organizations are selecting by chain people or the planning people related to the industry itself. So there is no specific targeted college or section that is required. Sometimes people have differences, but it's not a must. And by the way, a lot of organizations, a lot of educational institutes are now having the logistics as part of their majors. However, I had some chats with people who are graduated from logistics departments in a very reputable institute and very reputable universities, and they didn't find anything extra that they have been taught across their knowledge. Okay, next. No more questions? Okay, if you don't have questions, just let me know that you don't have questions.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I have sent a request in LinkedIn.
Okay, can you write it down? Okay, while Salfish is typing his question, I've heard at the beginning of the discussion, someone has said that he's here to listen to me. Okay, I have a lot to tell. I mean, if I started to speak, we will not finish today, but it's more easier if you can ask me what are you willing to listen to, and I can tell you what I have about it. Okay, so I guess you don't have any more questions. If you have more questions, just write it down on the chat. And as general talk about your career path in the supply chain or whatever your career path is willing to be, make sure that you are developing yourself by time. Something like, do not expect that you will stop your education. In the past, we used to say that only doctors have to continue their education across their life. However, now that every field is having more advancement, every field is having new knowledge, new practices, do not stop your education. There is nothing to pause at. You have to continue to search, you have to continue to read. And it's not only about the technical skills, and this is something that I have to mention all the time. It's not enough to have technical skills, you have to have the other soft skills. And when I say soft skills, I'm not talking about, let's say, the circs that we have about the human development, but I'm talking about really improving your negotiation skills, your presentation skills, your communication skills, because any job in the world that is including human beings will require having the personal, interpersonal experiences and the interpersonal skills. So always think of, if you have the technical part only and you're not able to express your opinion, you cannot say no, you cannot debate in a discussion, you cannot be a decision maker, you are not confident enough in yourself, this will not be helping you. So the same as you go for the technical, go for the personal skills. Read, attend sessions if you can. The internet is full of free videos and free trainings. So go for it and try to think, what do I need to develop in my technical skills and what do I need to develop in my personal skills? Do not wait for things to happen, something like you have to plan. And when I say you have to plan, it's not about having the plan to achieve it. Whenever we say plan, we mean have a guide. I've worked in the supply chain for 20 years, and I understand fully that we normally say that this is the plan that we have to achieve. The reality is the plan is a guide. You have a plan to guide you across your steps. So the same as we do in the supply chain, and we have a plan for production, we have a plan for procurement, we need to have a personal plan. And this personal plan is, what are you expecting to do in the future? And when we say, what are you expected to do in the future? It's something like, if you know where you are going, you will know how you will go. Something like, if you are going to France, you need to know that you will have a flight. If you are going to the neighborhood, you know that you will take a taxi. So just think where I'm heading to know how you'll go there, what courses you will be willing to pay for, what courses will you have online, what experience do you need to gain from the next step in your job? Are you willing to have a career shift, or are you willing to continue in the same field? Are you planning to have your own organization in the future? You have a project that you want to work on. So all these questions, you have to find something like a notebook to write it down and to check it every now and then, to think, where am I from this? And wherever you do a plan, make sure that you are enjoying it. Do not pressure yourself and do not overload yourself in terms of rushing. I need to finalize this before the end of this year. And then next year, I have to have 20 objectives achieved and so on. this is hectic. Enjoy what you're doing. Have a plan, perform it, and enjoy your success. Enjoy the time spent. Do not overload yourself, because sometimes when we overload, something like you drop down. And I've did this before. I've tried to have a lot of objectives achieved in the short term, and it ended up that I didn't achieve it. I had a plan since 2016, and it's a personal plan. It's not a business plan. And because I had something like, well, I cannot count. Well, I would say something up to 30 actions to be done to achieve somehow 30 objectives as sub-objectives of the main objectives. And I failed. So I failed to achieve the full, but I succeeded to achieve part of it. So this year, I started to be more mercy with myself. So I selected 5 big objectives, and this is where I will focus on. So whenever you are having objectives, make sure that it's not beyond your capacity. And there is something that, well, I'm not sure if I've translated the right way. It's something like the best that you can do when you are obeying God is to do little things continuously rather than doing big things every now and then. So do small things consistently. It will help you achieve your objective rather than trying to do it with pressure and a lot of things, and then you do it once and you do not continue, so you do not go for your last objectives or the main goal that you are heading to. I'm almost done, so if you have any questions, if you need to ask something, please go ahead. If we are done for today, just let me know, and I hope to see you soon. You can drop on the chat if you are not willing to open the mic. Most welcome, ya Yahya. The rest of the team? Okay, if you have a feedback, please go ahead and provide it. Neil? Well, this is just the least I can do. I guess we will have a lot of discussions later on. So I hope that you have had some questions answered, and we can definitely have some one-to-one chats. Yes, I will add this to my YouTube channel. And before you go, I'd like to tell you that if you don't know, I have a YouTube channel. It's by my name, Amany Zeedan, and I will write it down. It's AMANY. Zeedan, Z-E-D-A-N. I'm loading all the videos, all the chats that could be helping, and I'm adding some trainings related to the supply chain to the YouTube channel as well. So please, if you are willing to know more about the supply chain, you'll find the YouTubes. You can ask me to send you the presentation related to these videos. I'll send it to you. And wherever you have a question, you can drop it to me either on the Facebook, on the LinkedIn, or on the YouTube channel. Welcome. Okay, I guess that's it for today. Well, I hope that I've added value to you, or I answered some of your questions, and I've enjoyed being with you. The last thing that I would like to flag before you go, as said, I'll be providing 2 courses for the basics of supply chain management. It's an international certificate for the beginners or the people who are willing to do a career shift in the supply chain. And this is not for free. What is expected from you is to find someone or a family, and you provide their basic needs for the coming 14 days. And this will be the cost of the course. You'll not pay to me, you'll pay to the people who are in need for support. And if you are willing to participate in either the Arabic or the English class, just drop me a note and I will add you to the group. And this is something that we are doing for good. So I hope that if you'll not be able to do it, maybe you can share the idea and some other people can participate with us. And I hope that these coming 2 weeks are safe for all of us. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Talk later. Goodbye, my friends. Nice evening.
Have a nice evening, you also.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I'll close now.
You're-
Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Okay, some people are willing to say bye
Bye-bye.
before I close.
Thanks,
Okay.
everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.